over. An epic game 3. And Southside are through to their third grand final in 4 seasons. Reed swoops on the crown with massive basket.
3. You are kidding me.
And the fire burned brightest. Townsville are WNBL champions for the 4th time.
The start of the new year means only one thing in the Cygnett WNBL. It's time to turn up the heat as we head towards the business end of the season. And what a way to kick off 2024 with a blockbuster between arch enemies Melbourne and Southside at Parkville. These two sides have sat in the top 4 all season, but a chasing pack is hot on their heels, meaning valuable points, season series splits and bragging rights are all up for grabs in the first of a big doubleheader this Wednesday night. Jess Webster with you alongside our resident expert, Mark Alabakov. Mark, a huge night ahead of us. So much on the line in more ways than one.
A new year brings new opportunities for both of these teams. And when I say opportunities, trying to regain some of the momentum that they've had from the early portion of the season. The Melbourne Boomers, after a 5-0 start, have hit a skid, 2-5 in their 7 games from that point. The Southside Flyers have had a yo-yo of results in recent weeks. Both of them sit in the deadlock of teams with 7 wins at the moment, and only 1 win separates 2nd through to 5th. And all teams can't make the WNBL finals, but one team will greatly help their cause tonight.
It's certainly been such an amazing season. You feel like it's only going to get better as well, and that inconsistency you touch on is just adding a little bit of extra intrigue to this clash tonight. Of course, the Michelle Timms Cup is also up for grabs if Melbourne can win, and incredibly, Mark, since the 2015-16 season, so 8 years, the team that has won the first match of the season has won all 3 regular season matches between these two sides. And that doesn't include the 2020 hub season, but that's an incredible record. Do you see history repeating tonight?
Well, I mean, it's hard to say. You've got 2 teams that sit, firmly within the upper echelon of the competition as we look at the ladder here. The Sydney Flames finding their way into that top 4 have been able to build their season up. But we're looking at the Flyers and Melbourne Boomers. The Boomers with a win can put themselves back into that top 4 and, as you mentioned, win the season series, which would be a huge boon for their program. But the Southside Flyers can put themselves back into contention for potentially home finals advantage or court advantage in the finals if they can get a result tonight and then keep that series alive with the Boomers.
And that ladder is so incredibly tight at the moment. So as you mentioned, it is 3rd taking on 5th. So a really big game to come ahead of us tonight. And for Melbourne, we'll touch on them briefly because they've had a bit of a roller coaster. So 5-0 start, as you mentioned, the wheels sort of fell off, but they did lose Jordan Canada for a number of matches that really kind of gave them a little bit of the wobbles. But she's back and obviously plays such an important role for this side. Do you think that they will settle here on in with Jordan Canada back into the side?
I think so. And I mean, whenever you have an athlete of that caliber in your lineup, she brings you just under 15 points a game, but it's the 8.5 assists, it's the ball in her hands and the game management that she can bring to a lineup when it's winning time. So they've been able to hang around in a lot of the matches, even the ones that they've lost, the Melbourne Boomers, but just that poise, under pressure when it's winning time, she delivers that where that has probably been absent in their lineup through that skid that you mentioned.
And for the Southside Flyers, their starting 5, including some familiar names, Cole, Rochi, Potch, Jackson and Russell to start for them. How do you see their season so far, and what do you think they need to do for the rest of the season to really put themselves in that championship contention?
Well, I think they are. They'll sit in that mix, but one of the things that's noticeable for me, they've got match winners individually in terms of their scoring punch, throughout the course of that starting 5, but the ball is being shared a whole lot more, so they've been able to lift their way up the ladder in terms of assists per game. They sit number 1 in the competition with 20 assists as an average per game, which means they're getting all of those people involved organically. They're getting the right people shots, and they've got, as I said, people that can win a match off their own bat just on their talent alone. But when they can play together, they're pretty dangerous.
So Canada, Hillman, Conti, Froling and Blitzar's the starters for the Boomers. Still no Christy Wallace, unfortunately hasn't passed a fitness test. We hope to see her very soon, but we're only a couple of moments away from tip-off here at Parkville. Such a massive night ahead of us in the Cygnett WNBL, a blockbuster clash to kick us off on this Wednesday night. And Mark, as we get underway, And Southside with the first possession. Any key matchups that you're looking out for tonight?
Well, it's going to be the battle of the bigs. And, you know, this one here where we're looking at pick and roll with Mercedes Russell and Naz Hillman. Both of them have been exceptional imports for both of these individual teams. Mercedes Russell is a go-to when the going gets tough. Coach Cheryl Chambers will draw up offenses to get her the ball in the post. But then Naz Hillman, you know, she won a Player of the Round award only a number of weeks ago. She's been able to step up and probably been you know, more effective than perhaps what the Melbourne Boomers expected in signing her.
So Southside ball to kick us off. Get a repeat opportunity here. It's Jackson. Puts a shot up, can't get it to go. Melbourne on their home floor. Of course, beat Southside way back in round 1 by 7 points to kick off what has been a fantastic season. That is an excellent way to get us started at the boombox from Jordan, Canada. Here's Rochi swinging it across to Poch. Sets herself, lets it fly for a triple.
It's a big 3 reply from Poch, normally known as a driver. You can see they're challenging her to shoot the 3-point shot, and she's made the first one.
Hillman shares it with Blitzarves now to Canada, who looks inside. Too much on the pass. It'll be a Southside ball.
Interesting in the early doors here of this one, the Melbourne Boomers have Monique Conti handling the ball as the main point guard, which means they're trying to play Jordan Canada off the board in a scoring type of role.
There's Rochi working on Conti. Southside to maintain possession. Conti asking the question. Conti, of course, a dual sports star, but is really putting together a fantastic season as Poch. Can't get it to go. Rochi wrestles for it, will get a jump ball.
Now, whenever you're in defense, your alertness and the way that you position your body allows you to see and anticipate the next thing that's about to happen. For Sarah Blitzarves, 2 straight possessions off her baseline inbound. She hasn't been watching her matchup, and that matchup's been able to cut to the basket and get a catch 2 feet from the hoop.
Canada working the perimeter. Now to Conti, looking for an option. Now finds a lane, and it wobbles in.
One of the things I really like about Conti's game, or in the past month of her basketball, is that she's settled back into making plays organically, making the basketball play that she sees and not trying to force too much to happen. She can be an energy spark, but where she's let the game come to her, she's been far more effective for the Boomers.
It's Russell gets her first bucket of the evening. It's been a good start to this contest. Of course, so much on the line tonight. These two sides looking to solidify a top 4 spot. As Canada coughs it up on the fast break. Southside can't make it count. Last touch, Melbourne ball.
It's still early days, trying to feel each other out and trying to find any advantage that they can gain. So that reaction time advantage in transition, the push of the ball, but the defense from the Boomers was up to the task.
Here is Blitzarves, loses it. Rochi races away. 5-4 early lead to the Flyers. It's inside to Russell, working hard, and gets the foul call.
That's been something that the Flyers have evolved with in recent weeks, is their ability to get scores off transition, or points off transition rather. So whenever there's an error made by the opponent, the pace at which they're looking to play back the other way and getting people the likes of Mercedes Russell to the tip of the rim, lane runners like Bet Cole, or if she doesn't have the ball in that moment, Maddie Rochi, they get out ahead and the ball gets thrown to them for easy scores.
Having an outstanding season as Mercedes Russell, number 5 in the competition for average points per game, 7 for rebounds. So crucial to this Flyers outfit. Canada makes a move, kicks it out to Blitzarves in the corner. Can't get it to go, but Hillman gets it back out to Canada, who fires for 3. It's offline. Poch comes down with it. Now to Cole. Out to Jackson, who fires for three. It's off the rim. Canada looking for Hillman. Stolen away from her by Rochi. To Cole, inside to Jackson. Dennis can't find a bucket. Froling for the Boomers. Working on Poch. Muscles her way to the rim.
And I love that mentality from Keely Froling. You know, the ability to spin and play through the contact without going to the ground. You know, she's the type of strength and body type that can score and get on the free throw line for M1s.
So it'll be a Southside ball. As Cole gets back to her feet. Such a fantastic crowd in tonight at Parkville. These two arch enemies going head to head. Poch, nice finish.
Unfortunately for Sarah Blitzov's the third time there that she's been beaten by a cutter to the basket.
She is Blitzov's, and now's coughed it up as they both hustle to the floor. Foul's call, I think. And Sarah Blitzov's.
I mean, credit to her with that hustle to dive onto the ball. But part of your job, or doing your job early, all your work early, I should say, that can alleviate a lot of the struggles that you have. So putting your body in a position where you can see where the ball is and the player that you're guarding, or having clarity perhaps with how you're going to maneuver around actions. You want to be crystal clear when you play against a team the caliber of the Southside Flyers, because any error, it costs you a layup or a catch 2 feet from the hoop, which puts you in layup territory and foul territory.
Cole sets herself for a triple, knocks it down. The Flyers are out to a little mini lead here of 5 points. Less than 6 to go on the first. Froling, lovely work.
Textbook pick and roll between Canada and Froling. Did a great job of holding the defender off and only releasing the contact to go and catch that pass.
Rochi, second opportunity. And it's a trouble.
Probably thinking that she got fouled on that particular possession, but I like her energy to go and try and pursue offensive rebounds. So she's been in the thick of the action here on 2 separate occasions in the early stages of this first quarter, going to win an extra possession for the Southside Flyers.
Hillman, long range 2.
And credit the screen by Froling. Like, Hillman doesn't get open on that catch and shoot at the free throw line without a tremendous job by Froling to get her feet in the road.
It's into the action for the Flyers, to Poch, to Rochi. Inside to Mercedes Russell. Margin back to 1. As Russell finds another bucket.
Really tough basket, but the 6'5" Russell is able to elevate over the top of Hillman. I thought Hillman did everything she needed to on the defensive end to try and make that shot a tough one.
Reed also onto the floor for the Boomers. Conti in Canada. Rochi got a hand in there. And remain a Melbourne ball. Less than 5 to go in this opening term here at Parkville. Tight contest so far, as we would expect between these two sides. Canada has lost it. Southside ball.
And though the scoreboard reads 10-13, and we've got a close game, you know, by virtue of that scoreline, it does look like the Flyers are in a little bit more rhythm at the offensive end, and they're more proactive or acting and trying to make things happen defensively. They've got the Boomers on the back foot right now.
Russell puts it up and gets the call. So dangerous in that position, isn't she? So hard to defend.
She is, and she's a big target too. So while she's 6'5", she does a great job of spreading her wingspan so you can throw the basketball anywhere within her reach, and she releases her position. So the contact she has with her back on the defense, she releases that only to go and catch the ball. So it's always caught safely and in scoring distance.
Makes it 2 from 2. Now that leads back out to 5. Such a good shooting team are the Flyers as well. Early stages, but they're already shooting 62% from the field compared to 40% for the Boomers. that up. They have a good night, the Flyers. Canada. Out to Davidson. Working her way inside, she's lost it. Dickey for the Flyers. To Rochi, to Ernst to complete the play.
That's a beautiful play, and this is indicative of the team style, the assists that has become a trademark of the Flyers in their past month of basketball. Up to 20 assists per game. The ball touched 4 sets of hands there before it finished on the rim for a layup.
And a timeout has been called here in the first quarter, and this timeout is brought to you by Cygnett, Australia's #1 digital accessories brand. Cygnett continues to power the WNBL. Australian-owned and designed, Cygnett is available at JB Hi-Fi, Officeworks and other leading retailers. Visit cygnett.com today. So a handy buffer here for Southside in this opening quarter. They've shot out to a 7-point lead, and as you've mentioned, Mark, it probably now is indicative of a little bit of dominance they've had in this first quarter.
Yeah, and it's come off the defensive end for mine. They look far more proactive. They're trying to climb into receivers of the basketball and get a hand to it. Maddie Rochi is putting a whole lot of pressure on Jordan Canada and trying to get a hand in for deflections. So everything that they're doing becomes a focus on ball security, not proactively trying to score as a first line thing. So they've got the Boomers on the back foot, and then being able to get out and run in transition. So that last fast break that the Flyers had, indicative of a change in their style, or perhaps an evolution is probably a better way to put it, where they're getting easy baskets. Anytime that they can force a turnover from the opponent, they're running in numbers back the other way and sharing the ball.
So Melbourne this season, notoriously, they're the worst first quarter team this season, only averaging the 17.7 points. So it has been an area of concern for them. And when you're playing against quality opposition, you can't afford to give them too much of a head start. Yeah,
I mean, it's marginal edges that you're trying to go for when you're playing in this upper tier of the competition against a team the caliber of the Southside Flyers.
Canada puts one up. Can't get it to go. There's Rochi to Ernst. Working on Froling. That one's offline. Davidson with the rebound off to Canada. Now to Reed. He's lost it, and the Flyers all over Melbourne at the moment. Couple of bites at that one, and they get the foul call.
And it's the points off turnovers. So the moment that that ball got into a Flyer's hands off the back of a defensive possession, they ran in numbers. Maddie Rochi trying to accelerate down the floor and get ahead, where her sister-in-law was up to the task to challenge that shot. You had Carly Ernst chasing the play, so not pulling out and just expecting that a layup is going to be scored, going to support it, and gets on the back of the alley putback and gets on the free throw line out of it. So plays like this, just sheer effort-based things, they take the wind out of the sails of opponents.
Two from two from Carly Ernst, 86% at the line this season. And this has been a hot start to the Flyers. 9 points the advantage, less than 3 minutes on the clock. Jordan Canada feeds Davidson. Ernst's got a hand in there to break it all up. They've been very good at their defensive end so far, the Flyers. Jackson to Poch. Now to Mitchell. Inside to Ernst. Canada, though, breaks it up, races down the other end, and makes them pay.
And that'll help as a settler, I mean, especially as a juxtaposition with the prior possession that they had. They had a wide open layup, but second guessed it. You saw Penina Davidson, who's a tremendous basketballer, who can make a layup 2 feet from the hoop, just hesitated because of the pressure that the Flyers have been playing with on the defensive end.
A couple of misses from Lauren Jackson. Melbourne ball. Davidson puts one up, gets it to go.
And case in point, right? So once you disarm that fear and you're playing proactively and aggressively on the offensive end, back-to-back baskets for the Boomers.
Deficits now back to 5. A little mini fight back here from the Boomers. Dickey. Poch underneath it and capitalizes. Canada Driving hard to Froling. A little bit of a fumble. Gets the call.
I really like her start to the game and her mentality. So you can see that she's a leader within this huddle. You've got someone the caliber and experience of Jordan Canada, but off the back of this really tough move where she gets on the free throw line, Keely Froling straight into the huddle, and she's organising, and she's the main voice.
So Jordan Canada has a rest. Froling misses the first.
It's always helpful when you have that lead voice be a driver of energy and hustle the way that Keely Froling is.
She's also going to head to the bench. Minute and a half to go in this opening quarter. Flyers with a handy lead at the moment. A fumble from Poch, and Conti pounces and puts it in.
And isn't this really indicative of the quality of both of these two teams? So where there's a wrestle back of the momentum that the Flyers had early, controlling the early part of the game. Now the tables have turned to the Boomers.
They've won it back again, the Boomers, as Conti finishes it off. And all of a sudden, we're back to 2. Boomers fans getting involved. Such a great crowd in already at Parkville. Final minute of the opening quarter. Mitchell sets herself for 3. It's offline.
It's an opportunity here for the Boomers, even though we're talking about first quarter, 39 seconds left, to go for a 2-for-1. If they get a quick offense and a quality shot out of this possession, they can give the Flyers one more possession back and then end the quarter with possession themselves just to ride it out.
Davidson to Rochi. Carving through and finds herself a bucket.
You're noticing a fearlessness every time that Lauren Jackson is involved in a pick and roll. The guard from the Boomers is going right at her and challenging her to be able to contain a faster and smaller and quicker opponent.
So your eyes are deceiving you if you're looking at the scoreboard. It is 21 apiece. Not 121, 221. A great fight back here from the Boomers. Rochi with the last play of the quarter. Can't get it to go. But what an entertaining start to this contest at Parkville. After the Flyers got out to by as much as 9 points, the Boomers have settled and fought back to tie things up at quarter time. We're going to take a short break and be back with the second quarter shortly.
Use that momentum and power you've created to explode out on your first dribble. Okay, we've got 2 more. 1.
Sometimes as women, we look for perfection as opposed to execution.
The work ethic is important when the players are 40 years younger than you.
national landscape of basketball that has pioneered what it is to be an Australian opal. She's a FIBA Hall of Famer. She's a Women's World Basketball Hall of Famer. She's a two-time Olympian. She's, you know, an OG of what it is to be an Australian opal and paved the way for so many great athletes that have come after her time.
So some great scenes there at quarter time with that presentation in front of a really great crowd as we get underway in the second quarter. And the Flyers, they jumped out to a 9-point lead during that first quarter, but the Boomers hit back to tie things up at quarter time. So a good fight back from the Boomers. They haven't been the best first quarter team this season, but important that they stay in touch early, and they have done that as Reed driving hard to the basket, couldn't get it to go. Cole for the Flyers, off to Rochi, fires for three, it's offline. It will remain a Southside ball, Russell to Cole. Back to Russell, long range two. Nice finish.
That brings her tally to 3 of 3 from the field, and she's gotten on the free throw line for 3 of 4 as well. So really being an offensive target for the Flyers and producing.
Certainly in fine form. That free attempt is offline for Mercedes Russell, number 5 in the competition of average points per game, but number 1 shooting from the field. So how'd you see that first quarter, Mark? A bit of ebbs and flows and a couple of momentum shifts, but fun stuff.
It was, and I think that you've hit the nail on the head, ebbs and flows. You had both the teams in a high level of turnovers for a first quarter alone, so indicative of the type of pressure that's out there. But then the momentum swings came off the back of just pushing the ball in transition. So the Southside Flyers had a combined 16 points off turnovers and then fast break points, which was over half their score. And then the Boomers hit back late in the quarter for 6 and 6 of their own, so 12 of the 21. Incredible stats. So a bit of a track meet right now, but both teams capitalizing off the work that they're doing at the defensive end.
Potch at the line for the Flyers, and they edge out ever so slightly again. Great battle unfolding here, and you expect the pressure just to continue to rise. Conti from beyond the arc. It's off the rim, and last touch, Southside.
Now, early observations with the Boomers to start this second quarter, the ball is moving. So whatever they're doing from the offensive end to create an advantage, it might be a pick and roll, it might be a dribble handoff. They're getting into that action and then keeping the basketball moving, which is forcing the Flyers to have to move left to right. And where they've got so much tall timber on the floor, you can exploit gaps or force them to open up gaps that then you can dribble, penetrate, or cut into, just like this.
Kicking it out to Conti. Fires for 3, can't get it to go. Russell with the rebound. A fumble from Rochi, and it's a turnover.
Hasn't this game turned on its head? So that fumbliness and butterfingers there by Maddie Rochi, that was indicative of the way that the Boomers were playing in the first 3 to 5 minutes of the first quarter.
Flyers still with their noses in front by 3 points. We will level at quarter time. Froling working on Jackson, out to Canada. That one's off the rim. Jackson pulls it down.
Look at the speed here.
Working on Conti, looks inside to Potch. And the referee see this.
I say, look at the speed here. So the push of the ball, it's a clear track meet. The moment that the ball gets turned over, it gets outletted to a guard, usually Maddie Rochi, and then they go. They try to run at a rate of knots down the floor.
So a good start to the second quarter for the Flyers, out to a 5-point lead. Again, now it's up to Melbourne to respond, and to Jordan. Canada can't get it to go.
Just has to keep her feet on that layup, ride the contact, and be able to get herself a more in-control finish at the basket.
Flyers have turned it over. It's going to be a Boomers ball. Conti taking it down the floor. And Rochi. Poch got a hand in there. Boomers ball. Conti 6 points so far for the Boomers, leading scorer for them. And Mercedes Russell up to 9 for the Flyers. Poch with 8. Hillman to Rocci. Conti. To Jordan Canada. Can she manufacture? Kicks it out to Rocci. One's missing. Flyers. Fast break down the other end. It wobbles out from Cole. Boomers quickly down the other end through Rocci.
Now, tremendous play just prior to that. The defensive job that Rocci did on Jordan Canada to try and get in the road and not let her use the screen, then chase her over the top, then be in the mix to be able to contain her. It really kick-started that fast break down the other direction.
Melbourne to inbound. Conti to Rocci. Canada looking inside to Froling. It's come unstuck. Russell, Cole, back to Russell. Pops it in.
Just about to say likely timeout time if you're Coach Chris Lucas of the Boomers. The momentum has shifted the Flyers' way, and then the Boomers just look out of sync. They're starting to second guess or premeditate perhaps what they're trying to do on the offensive end, and it's leading to turnovers. But then, we mentioned earlier the great job that the Flyers are doing of pushing it down the other way.
So timeout called here in the second quarter, and this timeout is brought to you by CTM Sport. CTM Sport is here to transform your team's travel experience. Leave the hustle of off-court arrangements to CTM Sport, the experts in sports travel management. Get the winning edge at ctmsport.com.au. So, Mark, almost a carbon copy of the first quarter where the Flyers kind of shot out of the blocks. Melbourne looking a bit fumbly. They were out to as much as 9 points in that first quarter. Melbourne hit back to bring scores level at quarter time, but now the Flyers have the advantage and out to 7 points during this second quarter.
Yeah, they've started on fire, and it's come off the back of some really good defending, but then to me it looks like the Melbourne Boomers are becoming very Jordan Canada-centric. So they're trying to get her involved in actions as a scorer and then have plays end with her. And there's obviously a very high level of defensive scouting and focus that the Flyers have put on her as a dangerous player for Melbourne. And they're able to blow up some of those actions and then turn it into points in transition back the other way. So while it's great to try to put your better athletes in scoring positions, it still has to have an organic flavour. The ball still needs to move, and if not X, you need to be able to go to Y and Z.
Missed a few games with concussion protocols. Jordan Canada back into the lineup of late, averaging the 14.9 points per game, only the 4 so far tonight. Conti, Froling. Now to Canada.
The Flyers in a 2-3 zone out of the timeout.
They've worked it into the corner. Up goes the 3 attempt. Good rebound from Hillman. And now to Canada. Out to Froling. Sets herself for a triple. Hillman again with the O-board. Back out to Canada. Shot clock ticking down. Canada goes to ground. Manages to get it back out to Hillman, who can't complete the 3. It's a Flyers ball. Rocci. Cole broken up by Hillman. Good defense, Canada. Down the other end, and that'll lift her confidence.
She's tough to keep down. I was looking for a spare bit of space there to talk about how well a job defensively Maddie Rocci's doing in containing Jordan Canada, but the moment that you let her get loose like that, she makes you pay on the scoreboard. That's going to be quite the arm wrestle.
Now it's a turnover from Southside. So an opportunity here for Melbourne. As Cole heads to the bench, the offensive foul called on Rocci. 5 points the difference. Flyers in front. Will level at quarter time. Here's Froling working on Jackson. Comes up short. Potch for the Flyers. Share it with Rochi. Into the last 5 minutes of the first half. Rochi out to Jackson. Looks inside. Canada standing in the way. Puts the shot up and gets the call.
That's a tough finish by Canada, being able to leverage her body balance and be able to wheel off that contact and separate and be able to get the finish on the left hand, especially in a time of the game like this. This is following the same script as the first quarter, where we had ebbs and flows, but we had two really distinct rhythm changes where it started the Flyers off to a proverbial flyer, and then the Boomers working their way back to arm wrestle leverage back.
Completes the play, Jordan Canada.
That brings her up to 8 points.
It was only a few moments ago we were saying she hasn't quite found a rhythm. Put on 4 points in a matter of minutes. Probably a minute, not even that. Spec Cole trying to find an opening, comes up short. Jackson for three. Southside ball.
Conti in there with the spoil.
Rarely see her do that on the football field, I think.
But you can watch these games qualitatively, and do they pass the eye test? Who's the team that, to the eye, looks like they're playing to win versus playing not to lose? And the momentum shifted almost on its head. It looks like the Boomers have found their groove. They're acting, and they've got the Southside Flyers reacting.
Cole, long range three. Can't get it to go. Do we expect these momentum shifts to continue happening tonight?
I mean, I think so. For the caliber of team, look, both of these two are, and they sit in the upper echelon of the competition for a reason. But the interesting thing is the stat that you led with at the start of the broadcast, where whoever wins game one wins the entirety of the series.
Strolling works their way to the rim and all of a sudden scores a level again.
So you've got the same kill the momentum timeout that Coach Chris Lucas had to take earlier in the quarter. You've got that from the other bench with Coach Cheryl Chambers now, trying to wrestle back some momentum. She'll have the opportunity now with possession to try and orchestrate a type of shot that she wants to get their rubber to hit the road again.
So this timeout is brought to you by Ford Aussie Hoops, the perfect introduction to the world of basketball for kids aged 5 to 10 years. Basketball Australia launching the Ford Aussie Hoops Award for 2023. To find out more, visit aussiehoops.basketball to register. So once again, we have seen another momentum shift, and Mark, the stat you touched on, I'll just repeat it. We mentioned it off the top, but for the last 8 seasons, basically, the team that has won the first match of the season in this matchup has won all 3 between these two teams. So Melbourne, of course, winning in round 1 by 7 points. If they win tonight, they'll clinch the Michelle Timms Cup and go ahead in the series. But that's pretty incredible. For the last 8 years, it's been one way or the other. It hasn't really quite been even, which, as we were talking a little bit off air and a little bit during the broadcast, for two sides that have kind of consistently been in contention for so many years, just seems a bit wild that it's either all or nothing. Either one team wins all 3. There's no 2-and-1s happening here. It's quite the record.
It is. It's almost absurd, given, like you mentioned, the quality of both of these teams. They've always been in and around or been the team that's won the championship ultimately in any of these seasons. So to have a 3-zip record against one another each season, it's probably going to be the answer to a trivia question one day.
And just to add to that as well, it's almost flipping every season, because Melbourne are 11-9 in the last 20 matches between these two sides. So just ahead in the head-to-head, but always been pretty even. So we see another turnover in Hillman for the Boomers. Feeds Conti. That one bounces out. Scores a level at quarter time. A level again here in the second as Mitchell drains a big 3.
That's why you love having Mitchell on your roster. She's just a calm head. She's calm with her skill execution under pressure as well. So you can hear the boombox crowd starting to light up. It doesn't change the way that she plays. She makes the play that she sees, knocks down the open triple.
Conti pulls up short on the three. Flyers make them pay at the other end.
What a great pass. That was massive, almost quarterback-like by Leilani Mitchell.
And Dickey with the finish. As Reed sets herself for a triple. Can't get it to go. Mitchell. Now finds Ernst, back to Mitchell. Back to Ernst, to Russell. Couple of attempts, draws the foul.
But beautiful team play by the Flyers to keep the ball moving, so they recreated an advantage of time and space then with the pick and roll between Ernst and Mitchell. Mitchell drags it off, finds Ernst, who then at 6'5", throws the ball to the other 6'5" athlete, the line up just over the top of everybody to where only Mercedes Russell can catch it and reach it. Now they get on the free throw line.
11 points so far for Mercedes Russell. No problems there.
I mentioned earlier, this is the change for me, visually, the change from the Flyers, the way they've involved in their offense. They're sharing the ball a whole lot more. It's touching sets of hands. It's making sure that the defense is always in pursuit, and it's creating open shots that they can hit.
Frolling. Can't get it to go. Flyers again now out to a 6-point lead. Mitchell for three. Adds another.
Easy as you like.
Couple of big three-pointers in this second quarter. Into the final 2 minutes of the opening half. Rochi for the Boomers out to Canada. Here's Hillman. Another chance gone begging for the Boomers. Flyers with the momentum. Mitchell for another triple. It's offline. But Dickey with the rebound. Ernst gets it to go.
At two hustle plays, Jasmine Dickey on the O-glass, and then you've got Carly Ernst on the other side of the hoop being able to rebound and put it back in. But watch the body language of the Melbourne Boomers. Whenever there's that type of a scenario, a missed shot and offensive rebound, it looks like there's a slump of the shoulders. They look like a team that's fatigued or is feeling the pressure of this run that the Flyers are making to finish the half.
So a new game-high lead now of 11 points the Flyers' way. They led by as much as 9 points in the first quarter before Melbourne hit back to draw scores level. A couple of momentum shifts in this second quarter. Flyers have it on their terms at the moment. Blitzarves at the line. Couple of important free throws there for Sarah Blitzarves. Draws them back to within 9. Final minute of the first half here at Parkville. Great crowd in the house tonight, watching these two top 4 contenders go head-to-head. Russell finds herself another bucket.
It's starting to get dangerous here for the Boomers. They need to execute and get themselves a score. They've got an opportunity to get 2 potential possessions here to finish out the half. If they can get 2 scores.
Blitzarves can't get it to go. Chance for the Flyers. Cole, Mitchell, Canada applying the pressure. Back to Cole. Now to Ernst. Cole working on Hillman. Draws contact.
So it'll be a baseline ball with 17 seconds left. This presents an opportunity for Coach Cheryl Chambers to be able to find an edge, potentially call a timeout here and organise a play to get a shot type for someone to get them going. Obviously not looking at that, but if you have, as a coach, timeouts in the bank in this scenario, you're trying to find any edge that you can.
Play back underway. Here's Mitchell for Southside. Time ticking down. Gave it to Russell, who couldn't finish off on that occasion. And that'll do us for the first half here at Parkville. Flyers making their move in that second quarter after scores were level at quarter time. They head into the halftime break, 41-30. It's been a pretty entertaining game of basketball. As we take a look at some of the second quarter highlights, Mark Alabacco, what do we make of all of this?
Well, I mean, it's momentum swings again, isn't it? So the Boomers come out with a little bit of zest about them to start the second quarter, but then it got wrestled back pretty quickly by the Southside Flyers. The sharing of the basketball, being able to get all streams of offense going for their scorelines. They're getting on the free throw line, they're getting scores in transition, and they're doing a pretty good job of executing to create advantages. Mercedes Russell, I mean, what a handful to deal with she's being for the Melbourne Boomers at this point. Up to 14 points and got the 8 rebounds as well. But when we talk about runs, it was 7-0, then it went 7-0 back the other way. Then the Flyers finished the half on a 13-2 run. Just the body language from the Boomers looking defeated really, really early on here when they've been able to show an example of being highly competitive against Southside and having the ability to get themselves back into the contest.
So plenty of fans enjoying the action tonight. A big doubleheader of Cygnett WNBL tonight here on this Wednesday night as we take a look at some of the key stats to halftime, Mark, and those field goals. I mean, the Flyers were shooting really well in the opening quarter. Kind of be brought back a little bit to an even keel here in that second quarter. The three-pointers, look at that stat.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, this is going to be an Achilles heel for the Melbourne Boomers. Being able to consistently hit the three-point shot. Part of that will be personnel and lineups that you have on the floor, but then also, are you creating the types of three-point looks that are less contested, where you've got a chance to hit them at a higher clip? The telling thing for me looking at this stat block is you've got the 12 assists to the Flyers. The ball is touching sets of hands. Everybody's getting involved. And I spoke in the intro about how many potential match-winning offensive talents the Southside team have at their disposal. Right now they're being carried by Mercedes Russell and the scoring output that she can bring. But Rochi is scoreless. Lauren Jackson is scoreless. And both of those two have got the ability to put points in the teens up on the board in only a half of basketball.
As we take a look also at some of the individual stats winners to half-time, as you mentioned, Russell leading the way with 14, Poch 8, Ernst 6, and for Jordan Canada, she's started slowly but has worked her way into the match with 9 points. Froling as well, chipping in with 7. Conti's playing a great role with 6. And also the rebounds there, Russell and Jackson doing the job for the Flyers.
Yeah, well, I mean, the big one is Sarah Blitzars hasn't got going offensively, and neither has Naz Hillman. They've got 4 points between them, 2 each, and they're both critical to putting a winnable scoreline up on the board for the Melbourne Boomers, and shown a capacity to be very elite at Blitzars on the perimeter, and Naz Hillman with that long-range 2-point shot, but then all of her work close to the basket.
So plenty to look forward to in the second half. These two top 4 teams looking to get valuable points to kick off 2024 as the Cygnett WNBL competition continues to heat up as we head towards the business end of the season. At halftime, it is the Flyers 41-30. We're going to take a break. Don't go anywhere. Big second half to come next.
Women are powering forward and changing the game on and off the court. Together, Basketball Australia and the Australian Sports Commission are powering women in basketball. We are amplifying the voices, skills and spirit of women in the game. From the backboards to the boardrooms, we're breaking barriers, shattering stereotypes and empowering the next generation of female athletes and leaders. Get involved and together we can create a future.
Summer of awesome. Get ready for a new heart-racing game changer. Todd Woodbridge
What is the longest river in South America?
The Amazon River?
Correct.
pushes Australia's most addictive game show over the edge.
Wow. Let's go!
And in an all-new endgame.
One counter for a shot at $40,000.
The more you risk,
Two counters, $20,000. I'll also throw in a holiday.
the more you win.
If you don't get that jackpot, you'll leave here with nothing.
Brand new Tipping Point Australia starts Monday, Jan 29 on 9.
Ford dealers have backed sport in communities for nearly 100 years. And now, from the Boomers and Opals to Aussie Hoops, your local Ford dealer is proud to support basketball. Because all dreams start somewhere.
Through sport, business, do you find that people are really reluctant to celebrate their wins?
100%. I think it's hard for people to be proud of what they've done. For me, I'm wanting to make this team, right? That's all I've ever wanted. I make it. Hell yeah. But I'm not celebrating because now I'm going to a tournament and now I want to win a medal. Now I don't get the colour medal that I wanted. And so then you're down in the dumps. But all I ever wanted was to make a team and go to this tournament. And I feel like it's relative in every aspect of the stage of your career, whether that be sport or business, life, whatever it is. And sometimes it's not till you retire or, you know, you're done playing that sport and you look back and go, maybe I didn't achieve all my goals I ever wanted, but damn, I got to be proud of myself. I'm damn proud that I'm still playing today. Like I'm grinding, you know. Now I feel like I stop and smell the roses because soon that's going to be done and that's going to be sad and that's scary, but I've achieved so much, and even just you asking me that question makes me be like, no, I really have, because I'm luckier than still maybe the person next to me who never got to experience to wear the green and gold.
Hi, I'm Amy.
And I'm Annalie.
And we're here with Lachlan and Zara from Ford Aussie Hoops. Let's go have some fun.
Yeah.
What was your favourite sport when you were younger?
Basketball, obviously.
Do you play other sports too?
No, just
You're a hooper. What's your favourite subject at school, guys?
math, PE.
Oh,
Math.
Math and PE.
What's 2 plus 2?
4.
What's 2 times 2?
4.
There we go.
I don't want to stop.
Do you believe in magic? Did you know that I'm magic? Oh, here we go. Yeah. I can do many magic tricks.
What's your favourite thing about basketball?
Oh.
Friends.
Do you get fouled out a lot?
I do. Yes. She also gets a lot of tech fouls.
I don't get tech fouls.
I thought you were going to say the fun.
Yeah,
The fun and the friends.
But the friends make it fun. The people you do it with make it fun.
Yeah. All right, guys, let's go shoot some hoops. Come on.
He's an absolute workhorse.
Alex Demonor. Australia's tough hope. Oh, what a shot. He tries to get to every ball. Dimmin' all dazzles in Melbourne.
You overheated the generator.
That's nightgown. Oh, wait.
Well, that smile might make all the girls at the church social swoon, but it's not going to work on me.
Well, I'm not gonna be polite. I'm not gonna show you where a fuse box is. Night.
This Manhattan Doctor's life is going south. Stream all episodes of Heart of Dixie on 9 Now.
For centuries, supernatural creatures have lived among us.
There are vampires, werewolves, doppelgangers, witches,
And even hybrids.
Go! There are friends.
Our enemies.
The ones we love.
And the ones we've lost. A lot of blood, a lot of partying.
But if you're gonna die, it might as well be epic.
Sink your teeth into the drama. Drink. The Vampire Diaries.
Here we go.
Stream every episode on 9 Now.
I've got a staff meeting to go to, and so do you, you elitist Harvard fascist, missed the dean's list 2 semesters in a row, Yankee jackass.
Stream The West Wing.
Feel better getting that off your chest there, CJ?
I'm a whole new woman.
On 9 Now.
Women are powering forward and changing the game on and off the court. Together, Basketball Australia and the Australian Sports Commission are powering women in basketball. We are amplifying the voices, skills and spirit of women in the game. From the backboards to the boardrooms, we're breaking barriers, shattering stereotypes and empowering the next generation of female athletes and leaders. Get involved and together we can create a future where every girl's hoop dreams are within reach.
Time here at Parkville. It is the Southside Flyers leading the Melbourne Boomers 41-30 at halftime as we get underway in the third quarter. Jess Webster and Mark Alabakov with you. Boomers get us started in this third. Conti for 2. Great start to the Boomers in this third quarter. And Mark, we've been digging into the stats books tonight. I've got another one for you off the back of that Conti shot. Melbourne, pretty good third quarter team. They've won 9 of the 12 third quarters this season and averaged 21.4 quarters in the third. So maybe now is their chance to make a move as they get another opportunity. Canada adds 2 to her tally. Great start to the Melbourne Boomers.
On cue, look at you go. That was fantastic.
I love it when that happens.
Great timing. I think you're spot on, and it's going to come off the back of, or making up this margin is going to come off the back of effort-based things. So things like offensive rebounds and putbacks, getting out and running in transition, trying to get things that are less dependent upon other people.
Rochi makes a triple. Great response from the Flyers to back-to-back buckets from the Boomers to kick us off in this second half. Melbourne looking to keep in touch with the top 4. Conti draws contact.
And you want the basketball to keep moving from the Boomers' perspective in the half court. So every time it's done that, they've got weapons to be able to go to put points on the board. But the challenge to overcome from that first half, the 0 of 12 3-point shots, obviously, only the 6 assists, and they only attempted 5 free throws for that first half. They averaged 19.5.
10 points the margin early in the third. Scores a level at quarter time. Flies by 11 at the half. Rochi feeding Russell. Knocked away by Canada. Russell gets it back. Shot comes up short and Blitzarves pulls it in. And stolen by Poch.
No one to throw to ahead for Sarah Blitzarves. So when you're in a purple singlet, you've got to run ahead of your matchup. So she's got a target to throw to, or even if you're not open, you bring a defender with you, which spaces the floor for the ball handler a little bit more.
Rochi to Cole, now to Poch, had a fumble, under pressure. Shot clock ticking down, they've turned it over the Flyers. And Melbourne give it right back.
So Melbourne looking to hit home runs in transition, trying to play really quickly. In that instance, I would have loved to have seen Monique Conti turn, and she had nobody in front of her. If she keeps the ball alive, she can be a decision maker and catalyst to run that fast break for the Boomers.
You think Melbourne wouldn't want this lead to get out any further. Russell can't get it to go. Southside ball.
I thought that was good execution out of the pick and roll there by Rochi and Russell. So Rochi used it's called a hostage dribble. She comes over the top of the screen and she waits, looking for a second contact with her defender before she makes a decision whether to go herself or pass to the rolling Mercedes Russell, which she did in that instance.
Rochi to inbound to Jackson.
And the interior presence of both Jackson and Russell, when they're in there and competing, they've got a size advantage, but both do a wonderful job of leveraging contacts to find balance. Now, you find with Lauren Jackson, she'll lean into you and try to shoot the ball through you, through that contact that you bring, and be able to make the play, whereas Russell's a little bit different. She'll use the contact to separate and then open up some airspace for her to get her shot off.
First point for Lauren Jackson tonight. New game high lead of 13 points to the Flyers. They win it back. Hodge can't find a bucket. Canada screaming down the other end for the Boomers. As Conti puts the shot up and gets the three, but no score.
Canada pushing in transition with the mentality of trying to get on the hoop. So her aggressive mindset is really important, but she's going to have a high level of gravity, like alertness from the Southside Flyers defense. So the moment a second defender commits to try to blow up that driving lane, the ball's got to move because an advantage is created for somebody else.
Canada sets the feet and gets the first three-pointer for Melbourne tonight.
That'll feel good going through for the Melbourne Boomers.
They would love a couple more of those. Here's an opportunity. Conti gets another bucket, and here they come, the Boomers.
And just outworking the Flyers for possession right now. So taking away some of the predictability of what the Flyers are intending to do on the offensive end and blowing it up with hand pressure.
Another missed opportunity for the Flyers. Conti makes them pay.
Look for Coach Cheryl Chambers to call timeout here. Try to kill the momentum of the Boomers.
Margin is back to 6 points. Melbourne with the momentum. Flyers still with a handy lead as we head to a timeout here in the third quarter. And this timeout is brought to you by the WNBL. Don't forget, the official WNBL app is available. We don't want you to miss a minute of the action. So for all your live scores, highlights, and all your player and team info and plenty more, make sure you download the free WNBL app today. So we've mentioned it has been a game of momentum swing. So Southside got out to a 9-point lead in the first quarter before Melbourne hit back and drew level at quarter time. In the second quarter, Southside got out to 11 points and then Melbourne hit back. Now in the third quarter, they got out to as much as 13 points, the Flyers, and now Melbourne have hit back to draw within 6 as we head to a timeout. So it's been a crazy game of basketball.
It's like a heavyweight boxing match. It's one person lands a blow and then the other one throws one back, and you try to see who can get on the biggest run, when they do have momentum in their favour. For me, watching this, there's an intention from the Boomers to be a little bit more disruptive on the defensive end, but then that is getting coupled with the Flyers. I mean, I praised the way that they had the basketball moving and pushing in transition and touching sets of hands where they can utilise everybody's talents. Here, there looks like predetermined outcomes for what they're trying to get done on the offensive end in the half court. Or, you had Beck Cole from the wing try to drive the ball between 3 defenders and make a play rather than having something organic occur. And the Boomers are making them pay. Every time there's a average shot selection from the Flyers, the Boomers make them pay on the scoreboard.
The issue for the Boomers is they're good at making a comeback, but not getting a lead of their own.
Yeah, and the counter move to that, which I think is a great one by Coach Cheryl Chambers, is to put Leilani Mitchell in. Normally she isn't in this early. It's usually the ballpark of 2 to 3 minutes at the end of each quarter, just to manage the end of the games with her decision making. She's in early just to try to steer the ship back on course for the Flyers.
6 points the difference the way of the Flyers. Scores level at quarter time. Flyers by 11 at half time. Melbourne trying to make their move as Froling puts a shot up. It comes up short. Davidson with the O-board. Conti. Shot clock ticking down. Davidson out to Froling for a triple. It's off the rim. Russell with the rebound.
I'd like to see them continue to try and get their feet into that painted area. They haven't got a heap of free throws at the moment, mainly because they're not putting themselves in positions to be fouled, which is what they would regularly do when they've played their best basketball. It's been, you know, very paint heavy.
Mitchell inside to Poch. Trying to muscle her way to the rim. Boomers with a good defense, but Poch even better.
I mean, that's an unreal finish. I'd probably side with the Melbourne Boomers in that particular play. I thought that it was
Let's take another look.
Travel here on Nadia Poch. So there's a travel, potentially one here where she comes down with the basketball again, but you know, the rule book is there only as a guideline. The refs can only call what they see, and if there's players in the road, you've got to continue to play and continue to compete. So credit to Nadia Poch staying in the play and being able to get herself a bucket.
Couldn't complete the N1 on that occasion. Back out to 8 points the lead. Conti for a long-range 3. Huge from Mon Conti.
And make no bones about it, she can score the basketball. Like, credit to her, now that she's had a number of games under her belt with the Boomers, she's finding her way and she's getting back into basketball rhythm and making the right play at the right time.
Dickey couldn't get it to go. Blitzards with the rebound. Conti's 4th attempt at a triple. She finally drained one.
She's up to 12 points.
Blitzards from long range. Again, back-to-back triples for the Boomers. 2 points the margin.
This is why basketball is such a percentage game. So to be 0 of 12, you know, often it's indicative of the quality of shot, not the caliber of talent. I mean, that goes without saying, but you know the wheel is going to turn if you can continue to orchestrate shots with a lot of time and space.
Dickey, shot clock ticking down. Russell comes up short. Canada reels it in for the Boomers, making their move here in the third. Swings it across to Blitzards for another one!
Oh my!
The Boomers have come alive! They couldn't buy a triple in the first half. Now they're reigning. And they've hit the lead mark for the first time tonight. As Dickey draws contact.
And what you won't see at home is when that three-point shot went down, both myself and Jess sat up in our chairs. Holy moly, do we have a ball game on our hands?
Just almost from out of nowhere. We've been sort of mentioning that the Boomers so far, they've kind of been a bit fumbly, haven't quite found their groove, and having to continue to come back after the Flyers keep creeping out to these handy leads, and just absolutely responded in a big way here in the third, and we've got a level ball game.
Response is the right word. So it's both strategic, but at this pointy end of competition between two championship caliber teams, it's so much psychology and your resilience. So do you have the resolve and the discipline to stick to your identity, to try not to panic and force action or overthink what you're trying to do, or even predetermine what you're trying to do, just to wrestle back ascendancy against a quality and worthy opponent.
Rochi for Froling. They can't get another one, can they? Offline on that occasion. Blitzards, though, with the rebound. Off to Rochi. Poch breaks it up. Rochi gets another opportunity. Shot clock ticking down. Blitzards go for it again!
Well, coming out of halftime, she was the one athlete that they needed to get going on the scoreboard. Because when she gets rolling, she can catch fire. She's had some massive games within her WNBL career where she's put up points in the high 30s. She's got that capacity, just needs to see the ball go through the hoop a number of times and get her confidence going.
Ernst for three. The Boomers were 0 and 12 from three-point range at halftime. They've knocked down 5 in this third quarter. Unbelievable stuff. And they're up by 3, 2.5 on the clock in the third.
How good sport.
Just didn't see it coming, I don't think. All of a sudden, the Flyers need a settler and the momentum to go back their way. Boomers ball. Conti looking for Blitzarves. Poch broke it up. Here she is to finish it off. She'll head to the line.
And this is the psychology piece, right? So the Flyers get a stop, but their identity, that transition and push back the other way is indicative of everything that got them those leads in the first and second quarter. So credit to them, not to be in awe of the 3-point deficit at the moment or a boombox that is cranking in volume. Just continue to stick to your identity. You've got to have the ability to flush all of the external noise or even sometimes internal noise and play to your identity. It's going to put you in a position to win this basketball game.
Flies under a little bit of pressure. First attempt from Poch wobbles out. She makes a second. A quarter it has been from the Boomers. They trailed by 11 at halftime, and now they've hit the front. 2 minutes left in the third. Conti driving up and in. What a game she's having. What a season she's having.
Insane. And I talked in the earlier half about when you become a little bit too Jordan Canada centric with what you're trying to execute. With her off the floor, this is when they've made their run, because the ball is organically moved from side to side, it's touch sets of hands, and they're making the plays that they see. And they're a very good basketball team when they play that way.
Flyers need to put a shot up. Cole in the corner. Makes the shot but ran out of time.
Now it's the Flyers on the back foot, trying to reclaim who they are. So I mentioned earlier about Leilani Mitchell and the poise that she brings to the lineup to organize or game manage and get the ball to the right person on time and on target. You've seen that from Amy Roche in this couple of minute stretch here just before she got subbed out of the game just now by Jordan Canada. I think she's been a real catalyst to the way that the Boomers have been executing on the offensive end.
I think Conti might have had a foot outside the line.
Now, the thing to think about in these instances, if you're the Boomers or the Flyers, a minute to go in the quarter, there's not going to be anything that's largely going to influence the scoreboard in a way that decides the match. So if there's anybody on your roster with foul trouble, this is a good opportunity to get them some rest and hopefully not have them pick up a foul that you don't want.
Canada stands in the way. Gives it to Froling. Tough attempt. Some good defense from the Flyers.
But smart, you get the ball into Froling 2 feet from the hoop against the smaller Cole. Ball rims out in that occasion, but it's still a great shot choice.
Roche, tough shot. And the foul is called.
After this set of free throws, the Melbourne Boomers will have possession to close out the quarter, so wouldn't be surprised to see Coach Chris Lucas communicate with somebody on the floor what orchestrated play they want to run to get an intended outcome. So that could be assistant coach Christy Harrow having a conversation there with Monique Conti at half court, trying to diagram how do they want to end this half, whose hands do they want the basketball in, to try to get a shot that they can hit and go into the three-quarter time break with even more momentum.
Hillman gives it to Canada. Shot clock down to 5. And offensive foul called? Or is it going against Roche?
I think it's against Roche. So she's tried to get in the road of Naz Hillman rolling to the basket. And then the referees have signalled a flop warning, so they've said that she's staged as well. Has taken a hit, absolutely, but maybe gone on with the contact a little bit too much.
A little mayo on it, as they say, as Canada lets it fly. And that brings us to an end of a third quarter where the Melbourne Boomers set things alight. And they've hit the lead by 3 points after they trailed by 11 at halftime. They headed to the three-quarter time break, 55-52 over the Flyers, and what has been a crazy game of basketball. I think Mark Halavakov, I don't know if there's any other way to describe it. We've seen a bit of everything, momentum shifts, and Melbourne, that was an impressive third quarter. And my stat that I mentioned at the first quarter was right on. They are a good third quarter team, so they're proving the stats sheet right on that occasion.
Spot on, and just a heavyweight hit out. I alluded to it earlier, but I mean, I would love to watch 6 more quarters of this game, the way that it swings and roundabouts and twists in the narrative and the plot changes over and over again. I mean, but what a three-point shooting quarter for the Melbourne Boomers.
Let's take a look at some of the highlights of that third quarter. As we mentioned, the Boomers were 0-12 from three-point range at halftime, and then all of a sudden, the points started to flow. It was an impressive quarter from the Boomers. The Flyers, as we mentioned, they led by 11 at half. They were out to as much as 13 points during that third quarter before Melbourne absolutely hit back, as they've done all night. Here's one of the shots from Conti that landed, and just a flurry of 3 points. It was pretty impressive to watch, Mark.
It really was, and for mine, it was getting Sarah Blitzarves going on the offensive end. So she has 9 points in the quarter, and then Conti, like you mentioned, I mean, all the way up to 17 points, which is incredible. 8 of 12 from the field, being able to get the 1 assist as well. But the aggressiveness that she's playing with and making great decisions with the basketball, she was a huge part of why they got out to that 25-11 quarter that you just witnessed. They did a lot of it without Jordan Canada on the floor, so to bring her back in, if you can incorporate her and her talents into the way that they're playing, you know, stylistically, this is Melbourne Boomers basketball. They had 7 assists in that quarter alone. There was only 6 in the first half in total for the entirety of that 2 quarters. So it goes to show you the way the basketball's moving and the way that they're organically making decisions and not trying to force the action to happen.
So final quarter underway at Parkville. Mark, put your coach's hat on. What do you want to see from both sides tonight if you were their respective coaches in this final quarter, rather?
Yeah, well, with the Flyers, it's going to be the poise piece. So you've got to be able to execute and get high-powered shots here, or high-quality shots, I should say, rather, on the offensive end, but then support it with rebounding. So there's a picture where no one goes inside the paint. So the psychology of the momentum with the Boomers in control right now, they're all running back to defend right now. You've got to try and play to win, not play not to lose, especially if you're going to beat a quality team like the Boomers. You know, for the flip side, you want the proverbial foot on the neck of the Southside Flyers if you're the Melbourne Boomers. You've got to continue to compete for possession play and then try and, where they're second guessing on the offensive end or force any actions, make them pay in transition back the other way.
So a massive last quarter to come. As we've touched on, so much on the line tonight as this Cygnett WNBL season continues to get better and better every week. As Russell finds her way to the rim.
And that's what you want. You want a post presence. It doesn't mean you have to go there with the intention to score each time, but you've got to try and collapse this Melbourne Boomers defense. And then where they've got so much tall timber on the floor, a missed shot is a great offensive rebounding opportunity on the opposite side of the shooter.
Canada couldn't capitalize on the 3 attempt. Rochi down the other end, couldn't get it to go. And Hillman with the rebound for the Boomers, off to Canada.
So that would have been an example there. If Lauren Jackson stayed in the key, she would have had a rebound and layup, but she's popped out to the 3-point line, giving her matchup freedom to go and contest the layup without penalty.
Conti to Davidson, looking inside to Hillman, stolen away from her by Mitchell. Off to Cole. Gives it to Russell. But Canada comes up with it for the Boomers. Conti, who's been fantastic tonight for the Boomers, couldn't get it to go. Jackson with the rebound. 1 point the margin. Who's going to stand up for either side to get them over the line? Canada broke it up and finishes.
And that's the impact sometimes when you're running a patterned offense that a team has scouted and prepared to defend. So Canada's obviously seen that play a number of times, probably on film in the preparation for this game, anticipates where the pass is going and goes and picks it off.
Russell. Mitchell. Drains the triple!
From the car park, no less.
Scores level. Hold on to your hats, as they say, Mark. Rochi gets a hand in there. Davidson to Conti. Shot clock ticking down. Car park, Conti. Offline. And Southside ball. Didn't quite see the call.
It will be, yeah. Now, the interesting thing, see, the Melbourne Boomers have been the benchmark of the competition with recovering missed shots as offensive boards and second chance opportunities, no less. The offensive rebounding that they output game in, game out is #1 in the competition. They average 14 offensive rebounds. But there's a difference when you play against a team of the size physically of the Southside Flyers. The Naz Hillman rebounds 2 feet from the hoop, and I think she's got 4 offensive rebounds. What would normally be a trademark layup and put back for her, she's looking at either Russell or Jackson or Ernst at 6'5", sometimes multiple, standing in the paint, dissuading that shot.
Mitchell offline for the three-point up.
So it can take away from the comfort of doing what you do best.
Melbourne turn it over. Flyers back the other way.
Now, both teams making errors, just trying to play at a pace and an urgency that is beyond the skill level at this point in the game with the fatigue that these teams have accumulated. So smart for them to get into an offensive set here. If they can keep the ball moving, a good shot will emerge.
Canada finds an opening. Can't get it to go. Southside ball.
And Canada's all over the place, competing, trying to win this game. She nearly had a pass stolen earlier, deflected by Maddie Rochi at around half court. Looked like she turned an ankle, got back up and got back into the contest. There, chases the rebound on that play. A wide open floater that just rattles out, unfortunately, but stays in the contact, takes the hit from Lauren Jackson. Dislodged her headband.
#1 in the competition, Jordan Canada, for average steals per game with 2.4. She's had 5 tonight.
And haven't the Boomers missed having her on the floor?
Chipped in with 16 points as well. Conti leading the way with 17. She's also got 4 steals to her name. As Russell puts it up, bobbles out. Scores still level, 5.5 left. Jordan Canada swings it across to Hillman. And now Blitzarves. Rochi. Shot clock down to 5. Hillman gets it to go.
That's a great pass by Amy Rochi. So drags the 2 defenders with her, finds Hillman. This is what I'm talking about being aggressive. Hillman going to the rack rather than settling for the jump shot. Go and make sure of the points and put yourself in position to be fouled.
Stolen away by guess who? Jordan Canada.
Oh,
gets some contact as well. Looks like she's going to be okay. Let's take another look.
So quick. Lauren Jackson could be in trouble here. It could be an unsportsmanlike foul. It looked like there wasn't an attempt at the basketball, just trying to do everything she can to stop that certain layup. So probably dodged a bullet there, the Flyers, to get away with just a regulation foul. It still sits with 2 shots here for the Melbourne Boomers to be able to push their lead out.
Just 1 from 2 for Jordan Canada. 3 points the margin, the Boomers' way. Was their lead at three-quarter time. Here's Rochi for the Flyers to Bet Cole. To Dickey, looking inside to Ernst. They're under pressure, the Flyers. And the foul is called.
But the challenge for the Boomers and the advantage potentially here for the Flyers, when you've got Carly Ernst in the game, she's got the ability to hit really clutch three-point shots, and literally from the car park. I mean, the moment she's over the halfway line, she's open if you give her time and space, and she can hit that shot. But when you switch in a pick and roll and you switch a smaller guard onto her, if she can go to the basket at 6'5", her reach and her touch close to the rim can be a real advantage for the Flyers as well, as you're seeing here. So the smaller Jordan Canada.
And they've turned it over as that was Naz Hillman's 4th personal as well, just a few moments ago.
Now watching this play, so you've got the posting up of Carly Ernst, but recognizing the advantage that that could provide for the Flyers. Froling did a tremendous job with her ball pressure and forced her travel.
Canada loses it. Chance for the Flyers, 4 minutes left in this last quarter. They've dominated in patches, the Flyers, as Cole puts a shot up. Get it to go, and Melbourne ball. Every time the Flyers have skipped out to a double-digit lead, Melbourne has responded. They're holding firm at the moment.
And Froling leading by example, so 2 straight possessions. You have the pressure job she does defensively in the switch against Maddie Rochi, forces the travel out of the guard when she's essentially the big in that equation and out on the perimeter. But then to go and beat people to that rebound and take the contact to make sure that the Flyers don't get a second chance. She's playing to win.
This time out is brought to you by your local Ford dealer, proudly supporting community basketball in Australia. So the Melbourne Boomers trailed by 11 at half-time, scored 25 points to 11 in the third to lead by three-quarter time. And now they are holding firm with a 3-point lead. But as we know, Mark, the Flyers are going to keep coming at you. And still plenty of time left on the clock. Anything can happen, as we've seen tonight. Anything genuinely can happen.
There's so much time, and 6 minutes have elapsed from this quarter alone, and both teams very talented from a scoring standpoint. Both of them have only scored 5 points. So it gives you a picture of 2 things. One, the occasion and the amount of pressure and urgency that is, within this particular ball game, and where it'll place both of these teams on the ladder coming out of it. But then also both of these teams just having a hint of hesitation in the way that they're playing. You've got the Boomers only on the 2 fouls, Flyers only on 1. Are they, or the team I should say rather, that is more aggressive at trying to get their feet into the paint, whether it is to score or to create advantages and closeouts, you're probably going to see them start to pull away. And it's not outside the realms where the Flyers can wrestle back ascendancy, and that could potentially be them as well.
Play back underway. 4 minutes left. Canada makes a move, kicks it out to Davidson in the corner, gives it to Blitzarves, who fires for 3.
I mean, they must have read my script, right? So Jordan Canada, feet in the paint, forces a second defender to commit, throws the ball out. You've got a 2-on-1 with Davidson and Blitzarves on the weak side of the floor.
Russell to Cole. Russell, tough in these situations and draws the contact.
And a great pass by Bet Cole. She's a tremendous feeder of the post and has been her whole career. And it's something that, where we laud her scoring ability, we don't often talk about her ability to create easy baskets for other people. But having coached her in the past and then coached against her, she always throws the ball not to the open player, but away from the defense so her open teammate can release that contact and catch the ball safely like Mercedes Russell did.
1 from 2 for the free throws for Mercedes Russell. She's up to 17 points tonight. 5 points the difference. Just over 3 minutes on the clock. Canada looking inside to Froling. Can't complete the play.
Got everything they wanted out of that possession other than they made the layup.
Russell off to Cole. Potch. Can't get it to go. Would have loved that, the Flyers. Canada.
One thing to watch for that Coach Chris Lucas does a lot of and has had success with for multiple stops in his coaching career. Late in these end-game situations when it's winning time, he gets the ball to his best guard and he'll simplify the game plan where there'll be just a pick and roll, or here you're seeing a lot of space for Canada to create. Gives people room to be themselves and excel with limited instruction and more, just organic reads and decision-making.
Ernst sets herself for the three, offline. A couple of three attempts.
Yeah, and I talked about getting the ball into the paint being really important for creating advantages. 2 straight possessions. The Southside Flyers have gone around the perimeter and then shots come up without creating an advantage.
So less than 2 minutes to go now, 5 points the difference. It's been a low-scoring final quarter. Intensity's really lifted at the moment. We've got a big finish coming up. 2 of the big contenders of this Cygnett WNBL season. Kicking off 2024 in style on this Wednesday night. Here's Rochi for the Flyers to Cole. Finds her opening, but it comes up short.
But the shot quality is better because they get their feet in the paint. So that's a shot that you can make, and it's an easier one to rebound.
Here's Canada to Blitzarves. Not on this occasion. Davidson keeps it alive for the Boomers. Back to Canada. Shot clock ticking down. She goes inside to Froling. Can't find the finish, but gets the contact.
An outstanding poise by Froling. Now, the thing that she did differently in that possession with her catch in the key versus the layup that she missed earlier, she grounds both of her feet and gets her balance so she's able to elevate evenly off both feet, make her body long, be able to leverage the contact and get the shot away. The one she missed earlier, she was fading forwards and out of bounds, trying to get away from the pursuing defender. Where you can get body control, there's something to the ability to go from fast in terms of your movement to a spot to stop and then regain your balance and be powerful in your next action.
A couple of massive shots for Froling. Misses the first. 74% at the line this season. Gets the second.
Timeout to the Flyers. Coach Cheryl Chambers has an opportunity here. There's still enough time on the clock for them to get themselves back into this one, but they're going to need a couple of quick possessions, something disruptive defensively, or are they going to go for a 3-point shot that they're hoping to land, put themselves within one basket of being able to tie the game up, and then just allow themselves to organically defend at the other end and then come down and try and get themselves a 3-point shot again.
So timeout here with 1 minute and 1 second left on the clock. This is a new game-high lead for the Melbourne Boomers. 6 points was an equal game-high lead for them. 6 points, an incredible turnaround after 3 times being 9 points or more down in this game. It's been pretty impressive, but you know the Flyers are probably drawing up something pretty special at the moment.
Yeah, they will, and they'll get themselves an executed shot out of this particular play. If I'm Coach Chris Lucas and I'm talking to the Boomers lineup right now, I'm looking at our fouls at the moment. So you've got 4 fouls. The next one, you're sending people to the line. You do not want to foul a 3-point shooter. The last thing that they want is to turn this into like a 2-possession game where you can hit the front. If they get a 3-point shot that they make and get fouled, you've got to stay ultra clean. But then to the contrary, I mean, you can, if there's going to be a wide open layup, you can let it go, or then the choice becomes, do you foul them and put them to the free throw line? There's a lot of things to consider that strategically you can send a message in what your instruction is.
What would you do?
just stay clean and probably not allow that.
Lauren Jackson from the corner.
Switching is the best defensive tactic to try to take away three-point shots. It comes at, the cost of potentially giving up a layup, but where that didn't look like it was the defensive choice by the Boomers, you get Lauren Jackson popping out to the three-point line out in the corner to hit that shot.
You can't keep the goat down for long.
Well, I mean, she's a great three-point shooter, right? So it's the one thing that is something she's done at a very high level throughout the course of this season. You've got to take that away from her and force her to plan Bs.
1 from 8 from the field tonight for Lauren Jackson, but that was a moment to keep the Flyers alive. Can they get a stop here? Canada. And Hillman with the finish.
And that is we can't understate how enormous that play is. So hanging around the basket, good things happen. Naz Hillman goes to get that rebound. Now, if we rewind our memories back to the game against the Bendigo Spirits, there was a really key offensive rebound and missed layup by Naz Hillman, uncharacteristically. Sometimes those plays can haunt you, but the very next contest here against the Flyers, to rebound that and put it away, which now puts them well and truly in the box seat to win this match, puts all of those fears away. It relieves any pressure that you feel in that situation moving forward.
So 25 seconds left. The Boomers holding firm with a 5-point lead. They led by 3 at three-quarter time, down by 11 at halftime, and scores will level at quarter time. It's been a game of momentum swings, and each team have had their opportunities, and the Boomers at the moment just trying to hold on, but they're the ones that look like they're playing with confidence, and it was the complete opposite earlier in the game.
It's flipped on its head. And the challenge that the Flyers have with 25 seconds, there's not a lot of ball time, game time to be able to get shots away. So whatever they orchestrate here, you want to catch and shoot. You want as little time as possible to elapse off the clock and make yourself a three to put yourself back into a winning position. But then you're still in a spot where you're going to need to foul to stop the clock. So you're battling percentages, and it's not looking good for the Flyers right now if you don't get a score on this particular basket or you let too much time go off the clock.
Need something special to happen here, Southside. Who's it going to be? Mitchell. It's no good.
Now the Flyers with one more foul in hand. Coach Chris Lucas having the opportunity to call timeout here and advance the basketball. But it appears opting not to. So if you take the ball from this backcourt position, you can use the entirety of that 16 seconds. The shot clock will be switched off, and the game clock will determine how much time is left in this one. So look for Nadia Poch to deny Jordan Canada the ball. Her and Rochi will work together.
They couldn't deny her in the end. Although Rochi applying the pressure. Canada, did she step outside the line? I think it was a foul.
Yeah, to try and stop the clock, but she cannot be denied. Jordan Canada. It's amazing after a layoff, especially with concussion symptoms, and to come back, visually, it's still Jordan Canada that we were looking at in last round's game against the Bendigo Spirit, but she was still sort of out of sorts and out of sync wholly with what we're used to seeing. Now, apart from a patch in that first half where it looked like she was really trying to chase points, perhaps to her own detriment, she's found her way when they've needed her to most, and put herself, or to her team rather, in the box seat to win this one.
So the seconds ticking down here at Parkville. Canada with the ball in hand. Happy to see the time tick down. An impressive victory from the Melbourne Boomers. They beat their arch rivals, the Southside Flyers, 67-61 in what has been an incredible game of Cygnett WNBL basketball in front of a packed crowd at Parkville. The Boomers came from behind multiple times to come out winners and clinch the Michelle Timms Cup for the 2023-24 season. As Mark Alabakov, we take a look at some of the fourth quarter highlights, and the Boomers, they had to come from behind at half-time. They led by 3 points at three-quarter time, and boy, it was a test of their mental will in that final quarter to hold firm, and they certainly did that.
It really was. And in the second half, holistically, we talk about Jordan Canada, and she was tremendous to close out the game. 18 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists. But like you mentioned, the 6 steals is insane. But then what about the job? It can't go understated that Monique Conti did to get them back from being in a position where the Flyers were in the box seat. 17 points for her. She's got the 4 steals. She's got 1 assist and 1 rebound. It was a huge catalyst for allowing the Boomers to be back into contention where they could win this game.
And we mentioned it throughout the call, but 3 times Melbourne had to come from 9 points or more down. So 9 points in the first quarter, they drew scores level. 11 points in the second, they hit back again. 13 points, they were down in the third before a huge run to see them edge in front at three-quarter time, and then they got the job done in the last. As we take a look at some of the full-time stats, Mark.
Yeah, well, I mean, the one that's not up there is the second half scoring, 36-20 in the favour of the Boomers. But that obviously comes off the back of the 3-point shots that they were able to hit in that second half. They orchestrated that better. Their assists went up. The Flyers went down. They started to become a little bit more individual. But look at the points that they've left on the board hanging from the free throw line, 12 of 20. If they're able to knock some of those down, maybe they win this game. They had some layups rim out. So while you'd be frustrated with the result, they were in a winnable position, the Flyers. The Boomers just ultimately wanted it more in that second half.
Just adding another chapter to what has been a roller coaster season in the Cygnett WNBL. Things are really starting to heat up as we head towards the business end of the season. Mark, these are the games to come for round 10, and a huge one to come straight after this. Townsville taking on Perth. And you can see the rest of the matches, including a Super Sunday, 3 games on Sunday coming your way across the screens on 9 Now. What stands out to you?
Well, there's a lot of narratives there to look at. So you've got Perth needing to try and get some wins on the board in the absence of Ari McDonald. Townsville trying to stay on top of the ladder. Sydney is the hottest team in the competition right now with 3 straight wins. They get to play the Boomers here after this massive win. That's going to be a massive clash, and ultimately determine a season head-to-head as well. So there's so many implications for ladder positions. And mentioned right up the top, you had 5 teams all within 2 wins of each other. Only 4 were going to make the finals. Someone's got to miss out, so every game is a crucial game.
So a huge, crucial result this was for the Melbourne Boomers to keep themselves in touch with the top 4. An incredible game of basketball we have witnessed after scores are level at quarter time. A game of momentum swings, but it is Melbourne Boomers who came out on top by 6 points. On behalf of myself, Jess Webster, Mark Alavakov, and all of our entire production team, we hope you have enjoyed the coverage tonight. It was the Melbourne Boomers who got over the line by 6 points. We'll see you next time.